Hello!
And welcome back to another week of Personally I Wouldn't.
I'm on the edge of insanity.
Oh girl, I'm way past the edge of insanity. I fell off that ledge long ago. Yeah, what's new with you?
I'm just about to lose my shit because Ethan has been helping me do laundry and I was like, I'm not paying $20 to dry all my clothes, and I ordered this...
Well, first of all, your apartment complex charges, what is it? $3? $2.25 for each load of drying.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, Molly also does laundry, like, probably 12 loads a week, which is insane.
I have 2 jobs and go to class and work out, okay?
Yeah.
I have to change my outfit.
I mean, it's valid, but still, it's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell them the tea.
So I ordered this drying rack, like, for air drying, and I was like, it's coming today, it's coming today. It says it's being delivered today. We do all my laundry. We bring back all this wet laundry to my room.
Why'd you say wet like that?
Wet.
Wet.
And then it's not being delivered until tomorrow, so I'm just about to go jump off my balcony, but it's fine.
Look at myself.
So yeah, that's what's new with us. But yeah, we're here. We're back. It's February 2nd.
Yeah, I haven't seen Molly in a month.
I know.
We have been trying to be better about like scheduling our episodes, and so I didn't see her like all of January pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been weird.
Now he has brought the plague to my house.
Okay.
And
I didn't know I was sick, but I got here and I was like, went to bed after we went out the other night, and I was like literally on the brink of death. Like I was chills, headache, fever. Also, Molly's cat was like throwing up everywhere in the middle of the night. I was like, I feel you. I thought I had like caught his illness. It was dark.
You can't catch a cat's illness.
Why do they call it cat flu?
That's not a thing.
Then why do they call it bird flu?
Ethan asked me, like, why bird flu is such a big deal. And I was like, Ethan, it's a big deal because you can catch it. And he was like, no, but it's only for birds. And I was like, no, that's why it's a big deal.
But so you can catch a bird's flu, but you can't catch a cat's?
No.
That's weird. Bill Nye, you need to get on this. I need some answers.
But yeah, what are we talking about today, Ethan?
Well, I am currently in the midst of my quarter life crisis, transitioning into adulthood. I don't know if anyone heard. I've been trying to keep it real hush-hush, but I recently turned 24, and I heard someone on TikTok yesterday say that is mid-20s.
It is mid-20s.
And I think I just, like, passed out because that is so chilling to me. I've never been more scared of my life.
Dark.
It's really dark. Like, I mean, it's, like, not the end of the world, but, like, I used to, like, look at people who were, like, mid-20s and be like, oh, that's so far off in the future.
Old,
you know what I mean? And, like, that's me now.
Yeah, sometimes I think about how my mom had, like, 3 kids by this age, and I'm like...
That's wild.
Not even close to having my
Can you
first.
imagine?
No. I'd be so tired.
I would, too. I mean, I already am.
But I guess you're more tired the older you get.
Anyway, yeah, so I've been dealing with this transition into adulthood, and it's feeling a lot more serious recently, and so we thought we would kind of like share some of our tips and tricks, if you will, for like this transition and
a beginner guide to adulting.
Yeah, basically just give you
everything
guys
we learned. Yeah, I would say the first time I had to start acting like an adult was when I moved into my like 1-bedroom apartment when I was 19, which was crazy that I lived alone at 19 my sophomore year.
That is kind of like crazy.
Yeah. So, and I had to just like make my own meals, do my own laundry, like entertain myself, make my own schedule, and I was like, Mom, like I have to make my meals every day.
And that's
like, are you kidding? I have to plan dinner every single day. It never
Most
ends.
19-year-olds I know would not do that.
No.
That's something a lot of people don't even do till they're like mid-30s.
Yeah.
You know, like most
like
people
DoorDash.
like have a roommate or DoorDash or live with family until they're like literally married, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we basically thought we would just kind of go through some things that have really helped us with our transition and that we've learned along the way.
Yes.
So that you can benefit from our mistakes and our wisdom. Do you want to take it away?
Sure. So on the topic of meals, I would say number 1, learn how to make 3 to 4 easy dinners by heart, and then rotate those and just keep like breakfast and lunch pretty much the same. Like, I do eggs, and then I do, like, a sandwich or a turkey bowl for lunch pretty much every day. And then I have, like, some dinner recipes memorized just from doing them so often. And they're just super easy, and I can do them at the beginning or middle of the week and then keep those in the fridge. And meal
and I
prep.
will say, if you're not someone who cooks for yourself a lot or doesn't have like a ton of experience in that, I will say like Molly said, sticking with 1 or 2 recipes can be a game changer just until you like get comfortable. Because then you kind of like build up the confidence to be like, I know how to make this, I know it's good, I've made it a few times.
Yeah.
You know, like it makes things easy, you know?
Mm-hmm. And make them simple, but also, like, enjoyable. Like, don't be making plain chicken with rice and, like, broccoli if you don't like that.
Yeah.
Make something like a nice spicy taco bowl or, like, spaghetti that's, like, a healthy version that also tastes good and you're actually gonna, like, look forward to. So, it's not gonna be sustainable.
I make chicken and rice with broccoli every week.
That's psychotic. You're a psychopath.
I, like, season the chicken and stuff, though. Like, it's good.
I used to do that, and then I got so bored, and I was like, I can't keep eating chicken and broccoli.
You do have to switch it up after a while.
It's too much. Yeah. What's your next one? I have so many.
I have a lot too. We should probably just like go through these.
Okay.
One of mine that I'm really working on currently as well is just don't waste money on things that you don't need. Easier said than done, obviously.
Why are you looking at me when you say this?
Well, just the fact that you feel like you're being looked at says a lot in my opinion. But yeah, it's tough to do, but like I will say becoming more financially responsible is really going to serve you in the long run, because you're going to end up having more money to like do the things that you actually want to do or really need to take care of. So yeah, just like, I don't know, just like try to be more mindful of that when you're like having like a treat yourself day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't need to go like so crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say also humble yourself, and instead of shopping at Target, start shopping at Walmart. You're gonna save so much money. They have the exact same products. Dollar Tree.
Can we
I
talk
always
about
start like if I'm like planning a little event, I always start with Dollar Tree because it's the cheapest. And I'm like, let's see what I can get here.
Yeah, and there's no
can't
shame in
find
the
what
Dollar
I-
Tree hustle. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I can't find what I need, I go to Walmart. And if I don't find what I need there, then I go to Target.
I have been a Target loyalist for a long time because
It's so expensive.
yeah, well, it's convenient, which is
Yeah.
why I think everyone goes. Is like they
Yeah.
have everything. Like you just go there and like you get whatever you need.
Yeah.
But it is so like you go now and get 2 things, and I swear to God,
It's like $100.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what happened to their
It's
pricing,
crazy.
but it's so and I'm like a Circle member or whatever.
Yeah.
Like and it's still $100. But yeah, that's a good one. Like don't do that.
Another one I have is pick one day of the week for rest and pick another day of the week for reset.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, oh, my Sundays are like rest and reset, and I was literally working 6 days of the week, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not going to survive it. So now Saturdays are like lately they've been my reset days because then it feels so nice on Sunday to just like rest and truly rest because everything's done. So
yeah, it's true.
Really nice.
I would always combine the 2 into like Sunday or Saturday too, and just try to do laundry and chores and grocery shopping and all of that. But that you're not really.
That's exhausting.
It is exhausting. It's like a whole ass like day full of work.
Yeah.
It really is.
So you need like 2 days where you have no other priorities. One is for rest and one is for reset.
Yeah. And
I
sometimes
think that helps a
like
lot.
if you're early in your career, that can be a luxury. Like not everyone has like 2 days off, so I get needing to combine it at some points. But even if it just means like doing your laundry earlier in the week or something, so that you have more time on Sunday to like chill or whatever, or grocery shop or whatever you need to do, that can be really helpful.
If you have the resources and you don't need to be working 6 to 7 days a week, don't do it. Like if you can make it work, because it will save your sanity.
Yeah, it really will. This kind of goes along with that, but just like learn how to build a routine. Whether it's work or like working out, like if I don't stick to my routine, everything kind of goes out the window.
Yeah.
Which like sometimes like you're on vacation for like a couple days or whatever, like that's different. But like as long as I'm like home in my apartment, I really try to like maintain a schedule as far as like one thing I'm really bad at is my sleep schedule. That I need to work on. Because I have such bad insomnia, but getting that under control can be like transformative.
Yeah, that's true. I've been really trying to work on my sleep lately, and I've noticed like Some days I'll be like, oh, I want to wake up at like 6 a.m. to go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's all good and well, but some days like I just can't go to sleep until 1, and then I wake up at like 6 and I'm like, I could go to the gym right now, or I could like let myself sleep and rest and then go later, and it's not a big deal. So I do believe in like routine, but also it's okay if it gets a little thrown off and you still like get your rest and like you have your priorities straight.
Yeah.
The sleep is so important.
I will say, I heard this on Trixie Mattel's podcast actually, but we always stress having like a regular sleep schedule and like falling asleep at the same time every night. But like for most people, that's not
It's really
the reality.
hard to do, yeah.
Yeah, and that's also not like normal. Like it's normal to have some like interrupted nights or nights where you like are a little restless. Like everyone has that, you know what I mean? And so like I wouldn't like blame yourself for like having that, because then it's just gonna make it harder for you to like relax, you know?
So there's something in psychology where it's like kind of reverse psychology. I forgot the exact name for it, but it's basically where you like give yourself permission to stay up. Like if you're struggling with sleep and you're like, okay, I'm gonna stay up and I'm gonna like do something, and then you just give yourself permission, and it's not like this thing like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I can't go to sleep right now. It's like you just give yourself permission to stay up, and you like start reading or something and do a relaxing activity, and then you'll just naturally be like, oh my god, I'm falling asleep.
Because usually the harder you try to fall asleep, the harder it is to fall
energy,
asleep.
So also you can apply that to like anxiety. If you're feeling really anxious, you're like, I'm gonna try really hard to be anxious right now.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, oh, I'm like having these racing thoughts, it's so frustrating, I want to stop thinking about it, you give yourself permission, and then you know it's less likely to happen. So yeah,
that's a good point.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, go for it.
So I believe in like block scheduling and also scheduling in time for self-care, just going off of like the routine. Taking time off is just as important as productivity. So I used to be like, oh my gosh, let me see how many activities I can fill into my day. And then I was like, when am I gonna eat? Like when am I gonna when am I gonna like change clothes? When am I gonna do that? Yeah, like when am I gonna be a human? I've literally scheduled every single moment of the day.
You and me too, I think, are like guilty of that a lot, because we have some demons we're probably running from. Oh yeah. So like
the more productive
I will say,
I can be, the better.
The busier you are, usually the less space you give yourself to think about things.
Yeah.
Which can be good, obviously, if you're like really going through something, but it's not like you want to be able to like sit with yourself for 5-10 minutes and not have like a breakdown. You know?
It's interesting because the more time I give myself to rest and like be quiet, I've noticed I have a lot more patience for and like energy to put towards other people. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but in the moment you're like, oh, I can do all the things. And I talk to my clients about this all the time. Like, I have this one client and he's like, oh, I've been really irritable and like getting angry recently. And I was like, oh, well, are you filling your schedule? Are you feeling burnt out? And he's like, oh yeah, I guess those two things are related, huh? And I was like, yeah, because think about it. You're spending all of your energy on being productive. You have no energy left to sit there and listen to your friends, to be patient with other people. You're getting frustrated because those things do take mental energy and like
completely
control.
I mean, that's why they say you got to put the life vest on yourself first or whatever. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is kind of like, you mentioned this a little bit with like cooking and stuff, but knowing how to cook for yourself is huge. Another thing that I've realized is just because something works for someone else doesn't mean it'll work for you necessarily. And that's not a bad thing. You just have to find what works for you. And don't like feel bad if you try something that your friend recommends or like you see on TikTok, or you know, you're like, oh, okay, this like seems like a good strategy, but maybe it's not right for you. You know what I mean? And like you just have to find kind of the right combination of like what makes sense with your life and your routine and the way your brain works.
I was thinking about that and how I used to be under the impression that like these, when I was, you know, it was like 2016 Tumblr era, like diet culture, like juice cleanses and blah blah blah, and like drinking apple cider vinegar every day and
That's like now.
And then no, but it's funny because I used to think that people were actually doing that, and I'm sure that some of them are, and like actually finding sustainability in those things. And I was like, oh, they can do it, like why am I struggling so hard? And then I was like, they're probably struggling just as much and like
Completely.
just not talking about it, and they're focusing on all the great things that are coming with this juice cleanse, like they've lost weight and they're feeling like their digestive system is going better, but also they're probably hungry all day, maybe be more irritable, just like how I was when I was trying to do those like diet juice cleanses or whatever. Like they're probably experiencing the same things and not talking about it. So I was like, oh, is there something wrong with me? It's like, no, actually that just doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
And you need to find something that's sustainable for you.
Yeah.
So.
Completely. And that honestly could go for anything. You know what I mean? Like that is applicable to so many different aspects of your life.
Yeah. Another one of mine is keep a budget where you log all your expenses and which ones are, so I just started doing this recently because I'm trying to be on my finance game. And I've noticed I was looking at my budget and I was like, why did I spend so much money on that? Like which ones don't feel very good to you to look at and you're like, ooh, why did I do that? And then in the future you're like, oh, I regretted this previously. Maybe it's not such a good idea to spend $100 on Hinge. Like maybe that's not a wise. Yes.
Have you paid for dating?
Yes.
What are the extra benefits that you get?
You get to filter height is like.
Honestly, for you, that's probably worth it. Like that's an investment that actually makes sense for you.
Ethan was like giving me shit for having like a height preference, and I was like, all right, like you know what? I'm gonna make the equivalent for your case. Like, would you date somebody who's not only shorter? He was like, of course I would date someone shorter. I was like, they're not only shorter, they're also much skinnier than you are, like a little petite little person.
But that's different.
And he was like, and because Ethan's a twink. If you
Shut
haven't
up. That is.
if you're just not learning, he's a twink. I know that's not his preference. I know that's the opposite. I know he wants to feel like protected and taken care of, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like trying to make it the equivalent, and he was like, I probably wouldn't date someone that was like shorter and skinnier, right?
But that's like a double homicide. You know what I mean? Whereas like there's been short guys who I think are cute. You know what I mean? But who like have bodies.
Yeah. I don't know. That was I think that's the equivalent for you.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, if you really have like strict like preferences like that, then maybe something like that is worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like honestly, like genuinely, like it's probably gonna save you time and energy on swiping.
It did save me time. I was like, I'm spending too much time swiping through the 5 ones. I'm sorry.
Because I've seen her go through Hinge and she will immediately not even look at the photo but scroll down to the height. And like, if it's literally less than like 6'2", she's just like immediately down.
It's not like I haven't given them a chance. I have gone on dates with people who are 5'5" and 5'8" or whatever. I told you about the time I
had sex with that guy who was 5'6", right? I went out. Well, I didn't go out with him. It was like a Grindr hookup. Story. But this man texted me, and his height was not listed in his profile, mind you. But I'm sorry, if you're 5'5", that's information that we're gonna need.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. He was maybe 5'6" max.
Yeah.
And he invites me over to have sex, and I come over. I'm 6'1", 6'2" on a good day. And this man literally barely clears my waist. It was like, he came up to like my rib cage. And I was like, King, like, I know everyone's the same height horizontal, but like, what are we gonna do about this? Like, this is not.
Yeah.
It's nay. And so basically, we end up having sex in the shower in doggy. And Mom always cracks up at this. And I was on all fours. And this man is standing on his 2 feet, lining up perfectly. And I was levitating. I think I blacked out. I swear to God. I was like, I don't know who this is more embarrassing for. And the sex wasn't bad, but it was awkward. Like, the situation itself, if I had seen us from a distance, I would have died.
Also, because your femurs are so long, so
yes! Literally, my legs were like shooting out probably behind. So embarrassing. It is humiliating. And I do have like, literally my nickname in high school was Daddy Longlegs, so yeah, proportionally I think it can look kind of funny. But hey, listen, maybe that man was the love of my life and I walked away too soon.
Oh God, that is too good. How did we get on this topic? Spending too much money on Hinge.
Oh yeah.
Don't
keep track of your finances.
Your expenses. Like I remember. Okay, this was really embarrassing for me, and it's still embarrassing. But I remember I accidentally somehow in college signed up for a Fabletics subscription where they were charging me like $50 a month.
For what?
And I spent like $600 because I didn't.
On the
I never looked at my Bank of America. I never looked at the checking account.
Yeah.
And they were just pulling $50 a month for like
That's
a year.
so dangerous. That's what you gotta get that out. What's it called? Rocket Money or something?
Yeah. So I was
that
like,
it like shows you all your subscriptions.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And I was very ashamed. But now I'm like, I'm not letting that happen again.
Don't let it slide.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, and as an adult, or especially young adult who is probably hustling to like make ends meet and like succeed.
Yeah.
You work so hard for your money. Don't let anyone like take it away from you without your knowledge and consent. You know what I mean?
That's another one of mine. I'll just slip in since we're talking about it. Is
slip it in.
Shut up! How did I know you were gonna make a comment about that?
I'm sorry. It's because I have the emotional maturity.
I knew the second it came out of my mouth that something was gonna be said about that. When you go to AutoZone, okay, listen here, youngsters. Listen here, you little baby 18-year-olds that are going to AutoZone for the first time. Don't fucking pay $500 like I did for the expensive silver platinum oil or whatever they tried to upcharge you.
What the fuck?
Okay, go in there and say, I want the cheapest oil you have. I want an oil change. They're going to say, do you want to change the filter, the air vent? No, you don't want to change the air vent filter. You just want a freaking oil change and a tire rotation. That's all you need. That's all you need. Have them reset your car, come back in 6 months or whatever, or however many miles it'll give you.
Yeah.
That's all you need. You don't need the platinum oil. You don't need your vents changed unless they're really, really, really bad and your dad is telling you that they are. Then maybe listen to him. But
also,
that's all you need.
I'm so sorry, but like with the accessibility of YouTube, you can change your oil yourself.
Yeah, you can do it yourself.
Do it yourself. Save yourself like $400. You know what I mean? Like
my friends told me this. My coworkers. So they were having car troubles, and they took it to the dealership, and they said it's going to be $200 for us to just do an examination to find out what's wrong with your car.
That's
and all
crazy.
they do is they have a computer that they plug into the car, and then it scans it and tells them like what's wrong with it. It's a diagnostic.
Yeah.
You can buy that little computer thing for $50 on Amazon.
Shut up. Can you really?
Yes. They just told me this. My friend owns one. And you just plug it into your car, follow YouTube, and it'll save you $200. So.
Work smarter, not harder. Yeah. And I will say, that is one thing I learned the hard way too, is like, usually it's cheaper to go to like a garage rather than like the dealership. I mean, that's not always the case, but if you go to the dealership, usually they're going to charge you for a lot more.
They're really going to charge you. I think it's your turn now.
Okay. This one is like kind of like duh, but just like being punctual with responsibilities.
Yeah.
So whether that's like taking out the trash, paying your car registration, like things like that, like
just
it's hard, but like
you need to
do it when it comes up, because if you like put it off, you're gonna forget about it, and then it's gonna come back and bite you in the ass.
That's another one of mine is to stop, like don't procrastinate. I was really bad at procrastinating in high school and college because I was such a perfectionist. And one thing that helped me with my perfectionist was like I would rather have it done than it be perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just do it. And also when you're doing your dishes, I used to be like, oh, I have to scrub my dishes and make everything perfect. Just do it, like throw your dish in the dishwasher right when it's dirty.
Yeah.
And then do the load later. Like just do things as you go about your day. Yeah. And it will make life so much easier.
It's gonna save you so much stress, so much time.
When you see your bills, just do it right then and there. When you get a homework assignment, like do it the next day. Like just get it over with.
Yeah.
It's better to be done than perfect. That's like a
Same
motto
goes
I
for
have.
like anything health related. Like and I get sometimes like you have to weigh the like the reason, like, is it worth going, like, paying for, like, the cost of going to the doctor or whatever?
Yeah.
If it's just, like, something minor. And obviously, like, be smart about that, but most of the time, especially if it's something serious, it's always better to, like, go and address it.
Yeah.
Because the longer you wait, usually things will only get worse with time.
Yeah. I was thinking of a different, like, idea with that, with, like, health.
Yeah.
Kind of in the same vein as, like, it doesn't have to be a perfect workout every single day. Like, some days you're just not feeling it, and you can go for, like, 5-10 minutes. Okay, maybe longer than 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe like a 10 to 15 minute workout where all you do is like cardio. At least that's something.
Oh, for
You
sure.
don't need to do a whole weight training and a whole cardio session and an ab workout in one day for it to be like enough.
And you're gonna feel so much better just about the fact that you went, even if you like did minimal stuff. Versus like if you had just chosen to like sit at home on the couch and like skip it fully.
I've had days where I literally am not feeling it. I go and walk on the Stairmaster for like 10 to 15 minutes and I just leave. And I'm like,
same.
You know what? It's
sometimes
like,
you don't have the energy and that's okay.
Yeah. That kind of goes into another one I have, which is take care of your body. It's like I saw something that said it's the longest investment you'll ever have. It will outlast any car. It will outlast any home. It will outlast any relationship you'll ever have. Your body is like one thing that's going to stay with you your whole life. So that should be your number one priority. So I like that way of putting it.
Yeah, I like that too.
Should I do another one? I have a lot.
Sure, go for it.
Another one of mine is it's nobody's job to comfort you anymore. You're on your own now, but you're strong enough to do it, so stop looking for validation. I have a lot of clients who are like 19, and they're just like, they really need somebody to tell them that they're doing a good job, and that they're on the right path, and it's like, you can give yourself that reassurance. You can be like, well, what do I think?
With that.
If I knew somebody who was doing what I was doing, would I think that they're on a good path? Would I think that they're doing the right thing? Probably so. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. You know? And if not, then like maybe you should change something. So. Yeah,
that's definitely something that I have struggled with recently. Is I don't even think I realized, but when you're in high school or college or whatever, you even if you're no longer living with your parents, you look to them or whoever you're like, raised you for validation and your choices and like what you're doing.
Yeah. And
at a certain point, it's kind of your responsibility to be content with your life and what you want to do. And that's hard. Sometimes that's hard to recognize. Like, I still look to my like parents for approval sometimes, and they were like pretty involved when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I think part of that is just like learning to do things that I actually want to do versus like what would make them happy.
Yeah.
And that can be like hard to do because sometimes you're so used to doing something for how it'll make you look or how other people will perceive it, and trying to really pursue what is gonna give you the most gratification and satisfaction in the long run can be hard to do. It can.
Yeah. I just think like.
But I think you'll be happier in the long run.
Yeah, I just always want like question myself like, or ask myself, do I think that this is okay? Like, how would I feel if a friend or a partner, like if I really am regretting something or am embarrassed or like feel like I made the wrong choice or like nobody's ever gonna want to be with somebody like me because of this thing, blah, blah, blah. I think about, well, if I met somebody who had this one quality, would that be a deal breaker? And usually it's like, no, like I would still, if they had really good qualities other than that, I would look past that and it would be fine.
Yeah.
So.
That's a good, honestly, I've kind of learned to do that too from you.
Yeah.
It's because I think it's universally true that everyone's their own harshest critic.
Yeah.
And so when you do pull yourself out of that and you're like, would I be judging my friend this harshly for the same situation? Yes, there is usually no.
Yeah. What's another one of yours?
Okay, this one's good. Knowing when to cut yourself off, and not just for drinking, but for food, for like bad behavior. Like sometimes you do have to just like put yourself in check and like be like, okay, this is not who I want to be. You know what I mean? And I think there are certain things that you can get away with when you are in your early 20s or like late teens, that kind of become like less cute the older you get. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was like me with vaping. I had like a vaping phase in my senior year of college and like when I graduated. And then I was like, this is not cute. This is not who I want to be. I don't want to be somebody who vapes all the time. Like, that's gross.
And it's easy to indulge in that or like excuse it when you feel like, oh, I'm still young, I'm still a kid, whatever. But when you're like, no, actually, I'm an adult person now.
Yeah.
It does kind of force you to be like, is this who I want to be? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always like to think too, when it comes to like romantic relationships or like seeking someone who you admire, think about, am I exhibiting like traits that I would want in a partner? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would I be a good husband, a good boyfriend, a good wife, whoever, you know what I mean? Like, that is a really good way to, like, keep yourself in check.
That's honestly how I've been trying to approach dating, is, like, I'm really just focusing on improving myself in every way, because I want to be the type of person that my future husband is gonna want. Like, is he gonna, obviously, like, I want somebody who loves me at my worst, but, like, is he gonna be, you know, is he gonna fall in love with somebody who's not leaving the house? And, like, we're probably never even gonna meet if I'm never leaving the house. Like, we're probably never gonna meet if I am not putting effort into myself and I'm not confident in myself, or we're never going to, like, have a successful relationship if I'm not feeling myself and feeling comfortable and confident. Like, that's not really grounds for love, and, like, that's not really a good foundation to build a relationship on.
No, it's really true.
Yeah. Another one of mine is minimize decision fatigue by planning your week. We can already talk about this, but also planning the next day. And when I just simply lay out my clothes, like, for the next day, and like meal prep and like put my little lunch together for the next day, oh my gosh, like, it makes me feel more in control of my life, and, like, I don't have to wake up. I'm not waking up and scrambling, oh my god, what am I gonna wear? Oh, I have to throw this food together, oh god, and then it, like, starts off on a bad note. It's like, oh, yesterday Molly prepared everything, so
yeah, you
great.
can do yourself huge favors just by, like, planning a little bit.
Yeah.
And some people, like, thrive on the, like, randomness and spontaneity. If you're not that person, though, don't, like, put in the work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think that they can, like, wing it and get by. I've definitely been guilty of that at times. But chances are you're gonna perform a lot better if you actually prepare.
Yeah.
You
On
know?
that same note, going to bed early, it makes the day, like, days are so much easier. I remember, like, when I was really depressed, I don't know if I recommend this, like,
Wait, here we
but
go.
I was gonna say, like, nights were so hard because I would just sit there and think and think and think, and I was like, oh, I can just go to sleep.
Yeah, completely.
You can just go to sleep, and then, like, the days you're not really thinking about it. I don't really know that. I don't think that's a very healthy way of coping with it. I probably should have found somebody to talk to about it. But
I mean, that is, like, a depression strategy. Is like, you just sleep to, like, avoid, like, confronting your feelings.
But I think it is still healthy for me to, like, just go to sleep early, because I feel like my day is more full of and more intentional. When I'm staying up till 2 a.m. ruminating, scrolling on TikTok or whatever, it feels like that has just kind of tainted the next day by, one, making me tired, and two, put me in a weird headspace. So
but yeah, I mean, think about it. It's like, if you were gonna go take a standardized test the next morning, would you want to have, like, a full night's sleep?
Yeah.
Or would you want to be scrolling up on TikTok all night, watching Netflix, eating snacks
It
till
makes
3 in
the
the morning?
whole day more intentional.
Yeah, like, you do.
Better.
Sleep is so important.
Yeah.
It really is. And, like, it's gonna, like, what do they say? You spend 30% of your life sleeping, and the other 70% is informed by how you slept.
Yeah.
I think, or something like that.
What's another one of yours?
This one is maybe, like, duh for some people, but only have sex when you really want to. I think when you're young, it's easy to, like, cave to pressure or, like, situations. Not that you don't necessarily, like, want to be with the person, but, like, sometimes...
You're just like, okay, and you don't really put much thought into it.
Yeah, like, be like, is this really... Like, just check in with yourself and be like, is this really what I want? You know what I mean?
Does this really feel good to me?
Yeah, and
like,
don't be afraid to be like, no, this isn't
soul.
really working for me.
Yeah.
I think I was guilty of that. I mean, it's different when you're in a relationship, obviously, because you want to make sure the other person is satisfied too. But even then, I wouldn't advocate for having sex with them when you aren't really in the mood. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make sure it's something that you want to do. That both parties want to do.
Because in the long run, too, you're going to enjoy yourself more when you do actually have sex. Yeah. And you're not going to feel, like, regret about doing it.
Yeah, don't ever feel obligated. You don't owe anyone anything.
No.
So, another one of mine is FOMO. Talking about FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to get FOMO really bad and like, oh my god, I'm missing out on my friends, like they did this, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like, if I am really trying to go to every single social event and like always be present or like always be entertaining and like always be out and about, I exhaust myself and then I don't
for sure.
have enough energy to actually be present at those events. So you have to sometimes be like, actually, I need to prioritize just going to sleep early that night. I can't, like, maybe I'll stop by for like a second, but then be okay leaving and like
and it's hard to say no when they're like, oh, well, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
You're like, nothing. But it's
like, you don't have to have
that's a
alternative
good enough
plans.
excuse.
Yeah. Like, if you were really
just
looking
like,
forward to just, like, chilling and, like, making dinner for yourself that night, be like,
yeah.
oh, sorry, I can't.
Yeah. Because then you'll have more energy to actually hang out with your friends at the next event.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have another one?
Yeah. Well, we kind of already talked about... We kind of already talked about Target, but one of mine was like being able to go to Target and only get what you actually need. That I think obviously can apply to like any other retail situation as well, but like really just like setting your intentions before you like go in to like do shopping.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
My mom said she has a problem of like when she goes into a store, I mean you've seen it, Grandma Marcia, she will buy everything in sight, like everything she wants. So she's discovered that when she just like orders online and it has them deliver it, the cost of delivery is like cheaper for her because she just does her grocery list and then like they get exactly that and they're not getting all the extra stuff.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
When it's grocery time for me and I go in without a plan,
no, you're done.
I will get everything in sight.
The gummy worms they stare back at me.
Yeah, honestly. It's like, so that's why I will say, like, having a list is, like, huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you should have, like, a couple staples. That's what I do usually, is, like, there's certain things that I get, like, every week, like chicken, avocados, bananas, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, if you want to, like, switch up the snack you get, like, every other week or whatever, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, just, you know, being mindful of that is huge.
I have another one that relates to stores. So I was saying, I put down... being kind to people is always going to be in style. It's always going to be cool.
Yeah, completely.
So when I was younger and I was like a little angsty teenager, I'd go to stores and be like, or I'd like go to the grocery store and be like, and do a deadpan like face, like don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here and I had like a fresh start, I was like, I'm just gonna start like smiling and talking to people, and like I became more confident in myself and more comfortable just having random ass small talk conversations. So I would just strike up conversations with the register people, and 9 times out of 10, people are dying for social interaction and to like make their day interesting. They're sitting there bagging groceries all day. If you just tell them like, they'll be like, what are you doing after this? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm headed to an orgy or whatever after.
I've said that many a time to my Trader Joe's cashier.
Or like, oh, I remember I was getting stuff for my vision board party and they're like, oh, what are you doing after this? And I was like, oh, I'm having a vision board party. And they were like, oh, that's so cool, but it's the end of January. And I was like, yeah, I'm always late to everything. Like, I'm not even, I'm just like really struggling. And they were like, but that's such a good idea. And we like had a little conversation about vision boards. And
I think we talked about this too a little bit in like the how to make someone fall in love with you episode, but body language is huge. And like as soon as you realize like the vibe you're giving off and like control that, you can really affect the way people perceive you.
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen that thing that it's like the people who are approached the most in bars aren't the most attractive people?
That told you that.
Were you the one?
Yes.
Yeah, you told me. It's not the people who are the most attractive. Did we already talk about this?
Yeah, so my friend Sarah and I told Ethan this thing I saw on TikTok, who knows if it's real, but it was like this study that said that it's not the people who are most attractive who get approached in bars, it's the people whose body language is the most open and who are the most approachable and who are standing in like open areas of the room and their feet are pointed outwards. So we tested this theory, Sarah and I, when we went out like a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And we were like practicing and we were like, okay, we have to be open. Immediately,
really?
A group of men came up to us, started talking to us.
Because everyone's scared of rejection. Like, no matter what the context is, whether it's in a bar or whatever, even if you're at the grocery store, like, people want to feel welcomed.
Yeah.
And I think when you do that, it's, like, makes Makes it a lot less intimidating.
And then we were like dying laughing because we escaped those guys, and then we were like
So
laughing,
funny.
impersonating ourselves, being like, "Oh, we were so open." We were just making fun of ourselves, being that.
Yeah.
And in that moment, more guys came up to us.
Damn.
And we were like, "Is this a joke?" We were like, "Is this really working this
You've
well?"
tested, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
But honestly, I mean, I think that's something a lot of people struggle with too in adulthood is like, it's hard. Usually you move away from your college friends or you don't have the same community that you did when you were in high school or like, it's difficult, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being able to make new friends, that's a great tool you can use to like kind of help your,
just start
adulthood
conversation. People are so starved for
Yeah.
like connection and social interaction. They will appreciate it. When I have patients come into my job and they just start talking to me and asking about my day, complimenting my nails, that like makes my day because I'm just sitting here checking out patients, helping them, like doing my job. It's mundane. Please like spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, and let me tell you,
I'm begging you.
You're not the weird one for saying hi or saying something. They're the weird one for like acting weird if they don't like respond normally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're never gonna be the one who's like.
But usually people
in an
aren't like
awkward
that. They're
Most
usually
people
like,
aren't. But like if you do encounter that situation, remember that you're not the like crazy person for like trying to be nice and be social. They're the weird one for like having like a negative reaction to that, you know?
Yeah. On the same note, I was gonna say don't be afraid to just say how you're feeling in like uncomfortable situations, or if you're just like having an awkward conversation, like small talk, just be like, "Oh, I'm like so tired right now," or like, "Oh, I'm so hungry," or like, just say how you're feeling. I used to be so afraid to say how I was feeling because I was embarrassed at my like internal experience. I don't know. I just like felt so different and so awkward and weird that like nobody would care. I thought nobody would care, and I thought nobody would be able to relate to me. And then I
felt
realized,
that like no one cares what you have to say.
Yeah, and then I realized that we all are pretty much having very similar experiences, and when I like this helped me a lot with presentation anxiety. When I would just be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm nervous right now."
Oh yeah.
My presentation anxiety gone.
Yeah.
No fear, because you just spoke it into existence. Everyone knows what that's like. Everyone knows what that's like.
And then you just like convinced the whole room to be on your side.
Yeah.
When all you had to say was, "I'm nervous," because
like,
everyone's rooting for you to win. You know what I mean?
Or if you like say something kind of weird, like, or like, I don't know, you just blurt something out in a conversation at like a party or whatever, you'll be like, "Oh, sorry, that was kind of weird thing to say." Like, you just say that it was a weird thing to say. And
I am so bad at that. I will just leave it out there and be like,
"Sorry, that was a lot." Just be like, "Sorry, that was a lot." And they'll be like, "That was." But it's like, whatever.
Or you have free will, walk away. Like, extract yourself from the weird situation by turning around and leaving.
Yeah.
Like, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel like stuck in situations. Just leave.
Or if you're on a bad date and like you have nothing to talk about, be like, "Wow, like I'm having trouble thinking of things to talk about." And then be like, "Yeah, me too." And you'll be like, "Yeah, I was pretty nervous." And then it's like, that's the conversation.
It's true.
And then you talk about other times you felt that way. So yeah.
Yeah, everyone's afraid to be honest sometimes, I feel like.
Just say how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Like, people are understanding and less judging when you do that and you make yourself human.
Yeah. One of mine is investing in a couple of things that are going to be like long-term investments. Number one, you already kind of said this, your body and like a gym membership, huge. Like that not only is that going to be good for your health in the long run, but your mental health. Comfortable bedding, like we've said how important sleep is in this episode a lot, but like having comfortable bed or comfortable bedding is huge. And if you're looking to like lure someone into your bed, if you make your bed somewhere you want to be, it's probably somewhere they're going to want to be too. Quality furniture is something that's always going to be like worth the investment in my opinion. Yeah. If you're going to plan to like move across the country in 6 months,
maybe don't. Is like, buy nice or buy twice.
Yeah, no, literally, buy nice or buy twice.
I'm guilty of that. Yeah. I used to buy cheap furniture on like IKEA, Amazon, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And it keeps breaking.
Yeah, and quality doesn't always mean more expensive. Sometimes yes, but you can find quality furniture at the thrift store, at like markets, at like there are ways to get it. Facebook Marketplace is huge. There are ways to do that and not break the bank. And then also like investing in like cooking utensils and like kitchenware is really good because not only
You keep that forever.
You keep that forever, and it's gonna encourage you to actually cook. If you don't have the proper tools to like make a meal, you're just gonna Uber Eats. Yeah. It's like, why would I try to make something if I don't have the utensils and the like.
So it saves you money. There's some things you need to invest in.
Yeah, baby. If you want an air fryer, treat yourself.
Yeah, I invested in an espresso. Well, my mom invested. I asked for it for my birthday. But I was spending so much money getting coffees out because I freaking hate how Keurig tastes. And I have really never buy coffee out anymore because I really like how an espresso tastes. So
yeah, it's true.
Another one of mine is learn how to have a great night by yourself. That's kind of like what you were saying. But learn how to be alone by yourself. So number one, learn how to like go to museums, go to the park by yourself. I used to go to the movies by myself, but I've found that since my days are so busy, it's not difficult to fill my days, but my nights, like sometimes I'm alone on the weekends, have nothing to do, and I've learned to like really enjoy that rather than being like, oh, I'm so lonely. I will like DoorDash sushi, pick out a movie, like light some candles, put a face mask on, and learn like your ideal like solo night so that being alone isn't so scary for you.
Yeah, or take yourself on a little date. Like you said, go to the movies by yourself, totally fine. Yeah. And no one is going to notice that you're by yourself.
You're never going to see those people ever again.
Who cares? You're going to go and get your popcorn and watch the movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great time. I've done that. Go, take yourself to dinner. Take yourself, do like a pottery class or something. Like, there's so many fun things that you can do by yourself. And yeah, just like, don't be, I like that a lot. That's a good one because... like we said, like you are the only person you spend your whole life with. Yeah. And so you want to make sure that you like having a good time. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any more?
I do. This is my last one, which may seem kind of duh, but like don't go out when you have work the next morning. We've all told ourselves that lie, like, I'll be fine. I'll get up early. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Like no amount of FOMO is gonna be like worse than like how you feel the next day at work, because I've had to do that serving shift where I'm like fighting for my life hungover and everything goes wrong, like you accidentally write an order down wrong, whatever it is, like it's not gonna be like a smooth work day the next day.
No, so it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I would just say avoid it wholesale.
I have two more. Another one of mine is text your friends, your long distance friends, because adulthood means that like people are moving away and like you're not in the same college anymore, blah blah blah, same high school. Text your friends when you're thinking about them. Like text them. So sometimes I'll text my long distance friends who live in Northern California and DC, and I'll be like, hey, I was thinking about you, I really miss you. And they really appreciate that.
I'm really bad at this, but I do think it makes a difference because I've been on the receiving end of those texts.
Yeah, and
it's so nice to get.
So that was one. And then lastly, let me just tell you, nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody does. So I had a client the other day and she said, I just feel like everybody has it all figured out. And I immediately, this probably wasn't the most therapeutic, but I was like, they don't.
No, I love that.
They don't.
I love that.
And she was like, really? And I was like, they don't.
Yeah. Because sometimes you need someone to tell you that. You know what I mean? And yeah, that is, I think, kind of the secret to like overcoming imposter syndrome, insecurity, feeling like you aren't doing enough, feeling like you're behind, is realizing that
keep going.
Everyone's just like figuring it out as they go.
Yeah.
Even if you're one of those people who's like, I have a 5-year plan, I have a 10-year plan, you're still figuring it out day to day.
I was just talking to my sister about this, and she said when she started at her company, so she's a genetic counselor, and she was talking to a pharmaceutical rep who like comes into her work very often, and they were like, she's been working there for like 10 years, and she says she's known him for 10 years, like, and when they were 10 years ago, when they were both at the beginning of their career, she was like talking to him, she's like, I really don't know what I'm doing, like, they hired me, but I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. And he was like, that's okay, like I just started at this job, I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just winging it.
No, honestly.
And then they were talking about it recently, and they were like, we're actually kind of like the best at our careers now because we just kept going and we just learned as we did it.
And you just figure it out.
And you just figure it out. And like my favorite saying is like everything is figure outable.
Yeah, I love that.
And like I think there was another person who said like anything one human could do, another person could do. Like if you really wanted to, like you could learn rocket science and you could learn astrophysics if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Your brain is just as capable as anyone else's. Like, mind you, there are like biological differences, things from birth, blah blah blah. Yes, you might not ever reach like Elon Musk status.
Yeah.
But like you could probably learn a lot and be pretty close to that.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to. So
that is something for sure I've felt, especially since graduating, is like when everyone is already in their career or like you're starting a new job, you are going in kind of blind and like a lot of the time it's totally new to you.
Yeah.
But what you have to realize is like at some point this was totally new to like everyone else you probably work with too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone like starts at the bottom. You just have to like embrace it and be
just
like,
keep going.
yeah. And honestly, I know we've said it like in so many different shades in this show, but like fake it till you make it.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, we just hired this new girl at my job, and
Yeah.
she was, like, asking so many questions. Like,
Yeah.
if we were... And I never used to do that. I would just, like, be quiet if somebody was showing me something. Forget everything. Because I was, like... I would hear something, and I'd be like, I don't know. They would use, like, a word or, like, an acronym, and I'm, like...
Yeah.
In my head, I'm, like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but I'm too embarrassed to, like, ask.
Yeah.
So now I have no idea how to do this because I don't know what that acronym is.
Yeah, you might look like you know what it is in the moment, but
Yeah.
as time progresses...
It's going to be more embarrassing
It's going to be more embarrassing for you to be, like, a month into the job and be like,
and you're like,
what is
actually,
that?
I never knew what this was.
Yeah.
I actually had a client the other day, and he used a word, like, you know, he has a really profound vocabulary, and he used a word, and I didn't know what it meant, and I was like, what does that mean? Can you, like, educate me? Like, tell me what that means, because I want to make sure I'm understanding you clearly. And he was like, oh, yeah, I know a word that you don't. And I was like, yeah, great.
Yeah. We can all learn from each other.
But it's like, you know, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that.
No, you should. And anyone who makes you feel bad for not knowing something
they don't
sucks.
Understand how the learning process happens.
No.
Like they're just being
they're looking for an opportunity to be an elitist, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's gross.
Like, and the smartest people I've ever met are the best at being able to admit they don't know something, and then they go and learn about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
You're never gonna, and that's the thing, you're never gonna look smarter by pretending like you do know something.
Yeah.
You know, that's always gonna bite you back in the ass. Yeah.
I think that's it for today, though. So thank you guys for listening. We love you so much, and we hope you're having a good 2025. Avoiding California's fires and the crazy plane crashes that are happening right now. Stay safe out there.
Yeah.
While the world is crumbling, we will be here for you.
Oh, I mean, we'll do our best. It's been a little rocky for us too lately.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, love you guys.
Yeah. We'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Bye.